When one pursues excellence, it brings one to a new level of success. Great philanthropist and Nigerian par excellence, General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma retired, Gcon, to begin his 80th birthday celebration, was honored with an inaugural lecture on Friday, the 8th of December 2017, at the multi-purpose hall of the Eco Hotel and Suites, Victoria Island, Lagos. To kickstart the 80th birthday celebration was an inaugural conference on a collaborative research project of the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies, NIALS, and the Center for Comparative Law in Africa, also the University of Cape Town, South Africa, funded by General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma retired. Ending Africa's Energy Deficit and the Law, Achieving Sustainable Energy for All was the title of the novel research work, conducted by a team of researchers led by Professor Yinka Omorigbe. General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma is a well-recognized philanthropist all over the world. He established the T.Y. Danjuma Foundation in December 2008 with the aim of providing durable advantages through the implementation of development programs, collaborating with various non-governmental organizations to tackle developmental problems in the society. Present at the occasion were the chief celebrant, General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma retired, alongside his beautiful wife, Senator Daisy Danjuma. South African delegates led by the Deputy Vice-Chancellor and former Dean of Law, University of Cape Town, Professor Hugh Koder, and many others. The celebrant, General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma, was inducted into the Chancellor's Circle of the University of Cape Town by the Deputy Vice-Chancellor of Cape Town University, Professor Hugh Koder, who decorated him with a special emblem recognizing his philanthropic works across Africa. The Edo State Honorable Commissioner for Justice, Professor Yinka Omorigbe, a lead investigator and attorney, gave a summary of the first chapter of the work, titled Universal Access to Modern Energy Services, the Centrality of the Law. The Honorable Commissioner started by giving an overview of the book and identifying the role that the law plays in the enablement and empowerment of the world's energy poor, focusing on Africa. The chapter also critically analyzes key concepts such as energy poverty, sustainable development, access to energy, and the role of the law as a critical component. She ended by congratulating the celebrant and thanked everyone for the opportunity.
Essentially, you do need the policy, it plays a role, but you need the law. So at the third level, you need the national policy, it should be coherent, you need sectoral policies, you need laws that advance these objectives and make the objectives a reality. And then you need entities that will actually enforce, administer, and implement the laws. And when that does happen, and there is a coherence and there is a flow, you should have whatever your objectives are. And in this case, it is energy for all, which goes with improved human development indicators and improved energy development indicators. And all that goes to improved standards of living.
The celebrant, General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma retired, gave his remarks, which he started by welcoming everyone to the occasion. He commended everyone involved in the publication and said the book is in its last phase of production and it would be ready by early 2018. The celebrant described the research topic as one of the most challenging issues Africa is facing now. He also emphasized that residents of rural areas suffer so many predicaments, all because of poor electricity or inadequate energy supply.
This conference is the outcome of the first research collaboration, and I congratulate the institutions, the editors, and contributors for this very auspicious and significant beginning. Not only has the research been completed and published within the stipulated time, but it has been accepted publication on its merit by one of the world's leading publishers, Oxford University Press, Oxford, England. The book is in the last stages of the publication process and will be out early 2018. And therefore, this conference really should be taking place at that time. However, the two institutions and the editors were unanimous in their decision to hold this conference at this time to coincide with the celebration of my 80th birthday. I thank them for this honor.
There was a panel discussion session on energy and development justice, as different panelists who contributed immensely to the production of the book took turns to talk about their different topics in the book. The first panelist was Dr. Helen van Niekerk from the University of Cape Town, who talked about the third chapter titled The Advantage, Fairness and Power Crisis in Africa, a focused look at energy justice. Discussing the chapter, Dr. Helen said, realizing energy justice in Africa requires targeting the distinct difficulties that the continent faces. She highlighted the three philosophical notions that form the three pillars of energy justice, namely distributive justice, procedural justice, and recognition justice. She said, Africa's history of colonialism and denial of the rights of people require a distinct approach to procedural and recognition injustice in extractive industries. Dr. Tehemin Atzenge from the Bureau of Public Enterprises, speaking on the fourth chapter titled Regulation as a Catalyst for the Electrification of Africa, said, the availability and access to electric power is central to the economic development and social upliftment of any nation and its people. Dr. Tehemin identified the importance of a regulatory body in Africa that will serve as a conveyor between the government and the people. Dr. Sam Amadi delivered his address focusing on Chapter 16 of the book, titled Improving Electricity Access Through Policy Reform, a theoretical statement on legal reform in Nigeria's power sector. He stated that since the year 2000, Nigeria has embarked on an ambitious power sector reform program targeted at ensuring adequate, available, and reliable electricity. He stated that the power sector reform adopts a neoliberal development model based on the triple strategy of liberation, commercialization, and privatization. Professor Jan Frostad from the University of Bergen, Norway, also speaking about Chapter 15 titled South Africa's Mineral Energy Complex, Regulation, Governance and Policing, stated that government, in collaboration with mineral industries and electricity monopoly, should employ state capitalism as well as sophisticated control and surveillance of migrant labor to structure a system to ensure cheap energy. Dr. Azizat Amoloyi Adebayo from the University of Ilorin, speaking on Chapter 10 of the book, titled Energy, Disability and the Law in Africa, stated that the initial conception of disability appeared to be without due consideration for the importance of access to modern energy services in ensuring quality of life for disabled persons, and that this has affected the development of the law and the low quality of life of disabled people. The final panelist of the first session was Dr. Ibe Okegbe from the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies, NIALS Abuja, speaking about Chapter 11 titled The Denial of Sustainable Energy as a Violation of Child Rights. He started by administering that there is a consensus across the world that children are entitled to a myriad of rights, which government and other stakeholders must promote and protect: the right to life, right to education, right to survival, right to development, right to sustainable and affordable medical care, right to prevention of communicable diseases, clean environment, and water. He stated that one way through which children can realize their rights is access to modern and affordable energy. The second session of the discussion focused on cross-cutting issues, as another set of panelists talked on the cross-cutting issues. The first panelist was Dr. Peter Onyemola from the University of Ibadan. Speaking on the fifth chapter, titled Financing Energy Access in Africa, Dr. Onyemola said, achieving a universal energy access will attract huge capital investments. If sub-Saharan Africa is to realize anything close to the very ambitious goals set for its energy access, then new actors, innovative funding mechanisms, and sustainable technologies will have to be attracted into the energy access market. Mrs. Helen Chuma Okoro from the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies, NIALS Lagos, speaking on Chapter 7, titled Intellectual Property, Rights and Access to Energy Services in Africa, Implications for Development. She summarized the proper role of intellectual property rights, IPRs, in achieving access to modern energy services in Africa, as part of a broader objective of a pro-development intellectual property agenda for African countries. She said IPRs could serve an important role in achieving modern energy access by applying IP laws in order to inhibit access to useful technologies for achieving access to modern energy. The next speaker was Professor Paul Idonije, SAN, from the Nigerian Institute of Advanced Legal Studies, NIALS Abuja. Speaking on the 8th chapter titled Towards Adopting an Appropriate Dispute Resolution Mechanism to Promote Investments to Enhance Energy Access in Africa, Professor Paul said any development initiative in the energy sector would not only consider the legal framework for attracting such investment, but the dispute resolution mechanism. He said the chapter examines the role that the law plays in the enablement and empowerment of the world's energy poor, with its focus on Africa. Dr. Kabiru Salami from the University of Ibadan, speaking on Chapter 14, titled Energy Struggles and City Life of Africa, identified energy struggles as a global phenomenon. This was later followed by a question and answer session. The Edo State Honorable Commissioner for Justice, Professor Mrs. Yinka Omorigbe, in her closing remarks, congratulated the great philanthropist for the opportunity to be part of the project. She thanked all for coming as the program ended with the national anthem. On Saturday, the 9th of December 2017, General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma retired, GCON, played host to the cream de la cream of the society as he celebrated his 80th birthday anniversary. Undoubtedly, the occasion will be one that will last a lifetime in the hearts of guests present, as it was an evening of glitz, glamour, and entertainment from start to finish. The birthday celebration, which began on Friday, the 8th of December 2017, with an intellectual bent program which spoke on achieving sustainable energy for all in Africa, continued with a Thanksgiving service at the Cathedral Church of Christ, Marina, Lagos. The large number of guests who graced the occasion showed the volumes of love and admiration. General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma, retired, is a key player in major decisions that have affected the nation positively, and he still commands respect from all and sundry. The Cathedral Church of Christ, Marina, Lagos, was filled to its capacity as dignitaries from far and wide came to honor a man who has been described as one with integrity and transparency. In attendance were Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, former Head of State, General Yakubu Gowon and wife, Chief Ernest Shoneko and wife, Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Akinwumi Ambode, Governor of Ogun State, Senator Ibukile Amosun, wife of the Governor of Taraba State, Anna Dares Ishaku, Former Governor of Ekiti State, Chief Shaguni, Elder Statesman, Chief Ayo Adebanjo, Africa's richest woman, Mrs. Folorunsho Alakija, Lady Maiden Alex Ibro, publisher of the Guardian newspapers, Minister of Labor and Employment, Dr. Chris Ngige. Also in attendance were traditional rulers like the Alaki of Egba land, Oba Adedotun Aremu Gbadebo III, the Erelu Kuti of Lagos, Erelu Abiola Dosunmu, and a host of others. The church service began with an opening hymn which ushered in the celebrant, General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma retired, his wife, Senator Daisy Danjuma, their children, grandchildren and close relatives. To begin the service were various recitations of the Holy Bible, which were conducted by the Bishop of Lagos and Dean Emeritus, Anglican Communion, the Most Reverend Dr. Adebola Ademowo. This was intermittently followed with hymnal renditions. To give the sermon for the service was the Most Reverend Nicholas Oko, Primate of the Nigerian Anglican Communion. In the sermon, he congratulated the man of the moment, General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma retired, for the privilege bestowed upon him by God to celebrate his 80th birthday in good health and wealth. He also congratulated the entire family of the celebrant, saying that General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma retired is a man who has enjoyed immense grace from God. Most Reverend Nicholas Oko, who read the book of Psalm chapter 103, admonished the celebrant, General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma, never to forget the faithfulness of God upon his life and family, adding that as humans, sometimes we tend to take God's grace and goodness for granted. Highlighting his numerous achievements, the officiating minister urged General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma to walk closer with God, serve the Lord better, and devote the remaining phase of his life to the propagation of the gospel of Christ and love for humanity.
You've been alive for 80 years, or 80 years and 9 months, and God has forgiven all your sins for this long time, and also heals all your diseases. The disease here and the sins, they are the same thing. When you are not comfortable, you are not at ease, anything that takes away the ease of your life is a disease. And so sin itself is a disease. And when a person is not comfortable, is conscious of a particular sin, then he is diseased. Therefore, for 80 years, God has forgiven all your sins. God has healed all your diseases. And today, because you stand in Christ Jesus, He sees you clean, pure, and white.
This was followed by hymnal renditions and prayers. It was then time for the administration of the Holy Communion, as the congregation took turns to receive the body and blood of Christ. This was immediately followed by special prayers for General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma retired and his entire family. The Thanksgiving session was next, as congregants danced joyfully, giving glory to God for his wondrous deeds. The service also featured a special birthday rendition for the celebrant.
We wish you many happy returns of the day, long life and prosperity. Praise ye the Lord. Praise ye the Lord.
After which a photo and video session ensued. The recessional hymn, the Eco Atlantic Hall in Victoria Island, Lagos, was the next stop for the celebration of the 80th birthday anniversary of General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma. Distinguished guests trooped in as Bolaji Banjoko, popularly known as BJ Sax, one of Nigeria's finest saxophonists and entertainers, entertained guests with melodious tunes. The reception, which was compared by the chairman and CEO Gcon Communications, Prince Bisi Olatilo, witnessed a robust attendance of guests, like the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, SDF, Mr. Boss Mustafa, who represented the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, the First Lady of Nigeria, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, wife of the Senate President, Mrs. Toyin Saraki, Speaker, Nigerian House of Representatives, Honorable Yakubu Dogara, the Governor of Edo State, Mr. Godwin Obaseki, the Governor of Oyo State, Governor Abiola Ajumobi, and wife, Mrs. Florence Ajumobi, former Governor of Ogun State, Chief Olusegun Oshoba, former First Lady of Ekiti State, Chief Mrs. Irelu Bisi Fayemi, the founder, Eleganza Group of Companies, Alhaji Razak Okoya, and wife, Chief Mrs. Shadi Okoya. The founder, Doyin Group of Companies Limited, Prince Samuel Adedoyin. Chairman, Sonny Motors and Omorige Motors, Chief Sonny Asemota. Chief Mrs. Nike Akonde. The Iyaogi of Lagos, Chief Opro Benson. Princess Florence Itagiwa. Chief Mrs. Abba Folawiyo, and many others. From the entertainment and media sector, were the chairman and CEO Channels Television, Mr. John Momo, and wife, Mrs. Shola Momo. Monarchs in attendance were the Oni of Ife, His Royal Majesty, Oba Adeyeye Nitogunsi, the Oba of Ikate Land, His Royal Majesty, Oba Saheed Ademola Elegushi, among others. Although it was a night of less talk and more entertainment, the event compare extraordinaire, Prince Bisi Olatilo created time for a few remarks by selected guests. First up was the Minister of State for Health, Dr. Osage Ehanire, who happens to be an elder brother of Senator Daisy Danjuma. In his remarks, he described General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma retired as a man of extraordinary potentials, a man of integrity, wisdom, and a man with a heart of gold. He added that General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma has experienced the goodness and mercies of the Lord in tremendous ways, which is a reflection of his beautiful family. He prayed God to grant him peace of mind, good health, and most importantly, a continuous blissful family.
We have known him for very many years. He's a man of great inspiration to everybody and also to the family. A man of whom all are very proud. Yesterday we had the occasion to already have a get-together in family circles in which we presented our best wishes to him. He's a man of extraordinary credentials in his service to the country. He has been very blessed, and I would like to refer to the words or the primate today in describing the achievements of General Danjuma, that he has enjoyed the mercies of God in every way.
In his remarks, Honorable Yakubu Dogara described General Theophilus Danjuma as a philanthropist par excellence. He said he's a brave man whose footprints would last a lifetime, adding that he's a man who has distinguished himself in every aspect of human endeavor. He prayed God to continually protect members of his family and grant him strength to continue his service to the nation.
So I'm here not to tell our father how great he's been, but first to celebrate him, and secondly to offer thanks to God, because we have been told, even in the scriptures, whatever you offer thanks for, God multiplies. And we've seen how he has distinguished himself in virtually every field of human endeavor that he's had to stretch his hands to do. He's been an accomplished soldier. In business, he has conquered business. In philanthropy, even as a distinguished statesman, and then for the weak of this country that he champions. And he's provided a shoulder for so many people to cry upon. And I know that God will grant his heart desires.
The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, who was represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustapha, in his remarks, congratulated General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma on the anniversary of his 80th birthday. He added that his contribution towards the growth and development of the country speaks volume of his personality, which indeed has made him a man of the soil. President Buhari added that Nigerians are proud of his good deeds and urged him not to relent.
I'm more than happy to send these few words of congratulations and good wishes to the General on attaining the grand age of 80. To pay tribute to General Danjuma is more than a pleasure. It is a duty. The General was my boss in 1st and 3rd Divisions, Nigerian Army, and at the Supreme Military Council from 1966 through 1979. I found him a most appreciative leader, a respected colleague, but always a friend. To my experience, no better soldier than he has served in the Nigerian Army. He was competent, fair, and had no time for dilettantes or non-triers. He is a true son of our country. Congratulations, General, on your 80th birthday. Yours sincerely, Muhammad Buhari, President.
Nigeria's First Lady, Mrs. Aisha Buhari, said the philanthropic deeds of General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma retired will never be forgotten, adding that he serves as a beacon of hope to the younger generation. She prayed God to keep and bless him with a healthy mind and body.
Your Excellency, the celebrant, our brother, our father, our grandfather, our mentor, General T.Y. Danjuma, and his dear wife, my sister Daisy Danjuma. On behalf of my family, I join everyone here to congratulate you on your 80th birthday. We pray God to continue to give you good health, strength, prosperity, and many years ahead. Wishing you all the best in life.
Later on, there were various musical performances by top-notch entertainers like Dari Atalade, the Vintage Band, and the Sugar Band, as they took turns to entertain guests. The celebrant, General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma, and his wife were joined by well-wishers as the dance floor was declared open by the amazing performance of Dari Atalade.
I want you to dance like a lady. You see, Auntie Daisy, I need you to dance like a lady. Are you ready now? And to the left, and to the right, and to the left, and to the right, and to the left, and to the right. General, show sir. Permission to carry on, sir. Oh yeah, call him for dance. She go dance, lady dance. Call him for dance. She go dance, lady dance. African woman go dance. She go dance the fire dance. African woman go dance. She go dance the fire dance. She no be man a master. She go cook for them. She go do anything he say.
It was later time for the cake cutting exercise, which was supervised by the chairman of the occasion, former Nigerian head of state, General Yakubu Gowon. The celebrant, General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma, retired. His wife, Senator Daisy Danjuma, and his children were joined by fellow octogenarians to partake in the cake cutting exercise.
General Lt.Gen Danjuma, please step forward to bring him here.
Mr. Bode Emmanuel, Engineer Ekese,
Now,
and Prince Samuel, what are you doing?
as General Lt.Gen Danjuma comes, and you are now welcome. And I would like all of you to welcome General Lt.Gen Danjuma to the club. And thank you for...
Prince Samuel, what are you doing?
Very good.
Chivasiedu.
Go, because you've got to help him cut the cake. G-O-D-S-B-L-E-S-S-I-N-G. Now, T-Y-D. God's blessings.
It was merriment till the break of dawn as the band dished out good music, which saw guests dancing happily. From Gcon Communications, we congratulate General Theophilus Yakubu Danjuma, retired, as he joyfully joins the League of Octogenarians. Happy birthday, sir!